where they do even no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make you shout. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come, man of the masses. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, Mayegun diary politico. Oh yo. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ara yìí.
Hello there.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Gbogbo ṣe ń lọ ní Mayegun dá wa sí. Àṣírí ọ̀dẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Bó bá ṣe àní Mayegun máa wí. Ó sì tún ṣe pàápàá níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. It is Mayegun Live.
Thank
you so much for joining me. Please take your time, read the caption of the broadcast, the description of the broadcast, share it. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends. There is a breaking news. The Nigeria House of Representatives have now passed the student loan bill into law, the same bill that Tifnumbu signed into law in June, on the 12th of June, 2023. Idon. For those who know Tifnumbu as a con man and everything around him as a kung fu, right? Indeed, they believe that Tifnumbu is Idon and majority of you are just fools. Thank you very much, sharing. Mutide. So good morning to you once again, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you. From wherever you are watching from, it is Mayegun Live. So the breaking news from the stable of Tifnumbu and their Gbajue government is that the student loan that they signed into law hurriedly when he removed subsidy, and the whole country was reacting in order to kind of win them over and make them believe that removing subsidy is in their own interest, or else Nigeria would never survive. So they quickly put something together, something probably they put off the shelf. Put a wool over the eyes of the fools that does believe them, by the way. And within 2-3 days, Gbajabiamila put together this fraud scheme, scam called student loan. It didn't take much time before the whole thing fell flat. But because they are fraudsters, they doubled down. None of the things they presented showed that they actually have any plan of helping and supporting education. Tifnumbu is a taxman, a pickpocket. You can read about IIGR from, Lagos. But when you ask them, where did they put those IGR? You know the answer. Now, is the same guy who said, in an economic situation like this, he offered Bokwari an economic advice: print more money, widen the tax net, reduce their purchasing power, whatever the hell that even means. And that seems to be the economic idea that Tifnumbu is pretending to be implementing for you. How much money were they going to save from subsidy? Zero. Because the subsidy removed that they presented to you is a fraud. The same one they only renamed, but they are still paying for. And criminally so, they are hiding the number from you. They said they will put the money into education, put the money into healthcare, put the money into infrastructure and education. Student loan. Remember that they are broke. Nigeria is broke. No thanks to the leeches, the glutinous criminals, entitled rogues that are parading themselves as a solution, problem solvers. So when they announced that Tifnumbu has signed blah, blah, blah into law, a lot of people were more like, wow, if it is a bill, when was it debated? When was it passed? How come Tifnumbu could pull that off within days? Because it was a fraud. To calm the tension, Tifnumbu will put 5 billion naira towards a student loan. They started describing student loan. Oh, in America, in the UK, you can take loan and go to school. You can change. Meanwhile, they were not telling the mofos who believed them that they will need the birth certificate of their great-grandmothers, their ancestors, as well as so many others, for them to access just $100 loan. It's quite mean, but it was a deceit. It bought them time. So every time, every turn, they will say, relax. This subsidy that they removed, okay? There are so many things that are coming that you will enjoy. Remember, Tifnumbu has promised you palliatives. He's going to do it to reduce your stress. He has also promised you, 8,000 naira to the poorest of you. He's going to give you. Oh, do you know the student loan? Oh, that's the greatest thing that Tifnumbu is bringing. It bought them time. But it was all fraud. But they are not even like relaxing. Now to them, they also need more time. But do you want to know the truth? For a poor country like Nigeria, in economic turmoil and ruin. If any government want to run a genuine, impactful student loan system, before they even open any portal for you to apply, they would have actually ensured that the pot that all of you are going to be drawing money from, for a starter, maybe with a 10 trillion naira. Yeah. A lot of people have become poor afar. A lot of students currently are doing just anything and everything to see themselves through that. I mean, those colleges and universities. Because they are those who are sponsoring themselves now. But Gbajabiamila Amole, in his wisdom, for Kolu, in his demented brain, they came up with a student loan of 5 billion naira for the country of 200 million people, when the Tifnumbu's Pampers alone, Tifnumbu's Pampers, Tifnumbu's food, as well as Tifnumbu's drugs, everything is over 7 billion naira. Tifnumbu's food for 1 year is over 4 billion naira, food alone. Okay, so Tifnumbu's Pampers is over 800 million naira. You don't know that they have that there. They gave it a name. It's a different name. It's called Care Package. In the budget, it's called Care Package for Tifnumbu. These are the Pampers, the powders, dusting powders, the bottom cream, as well as other things that they have to take care of under there, right? It's part of your budget. Put all of them together. They are over 7 billion naira for Tifnumbu in 2024 alone. Kittyman is going to take about 4.8 billion for the same purpose, minus the Pampers. However, the entire 200 million people and their children who are students are going to have to drag 5 billion naira. When people started questioning that, then they said, oh, calm down, come on. It was just a start. So they said, where are you going to get the money from to fund student loan? Let's start with that. Okay. When every available resources right now is being channeled into so many bogus, fraudulent conduit pipe where the money is gone just the same way they came. These guys are opening the, you know what I mean? The other day they announced to you that they were implementing Oronsaye's report. This one should match with this one. This agency should match with that one. This one has been matched with that one. All lies. And the same supposed matched agencies, Tifnumbu is still appointing people to occupy director, chairman, director of supposed agencies that no longer exist because they've matched with another one. Fraud. So that was what Gbajabiamila Amole did. For a flashback, right? I'll tell you. So when they came together for student loan, this fraudulent student loan that was not really hard for us to tell, and you think like the Nigeria here, you think people raising the whistleblowers, raising the alarm, calling you to pay attention to the lies before you are lied to, or you enabled it only to come back later and cry. Can you imagine what they did and all that? So the student loan arrangee from the word go, from what Gbajabiamila Amole mulled together for Tifnumbu, that they now said he sent back to them. That is now the breaking news that it has now been passed. Starting with that, they said to obtain the student loan, nobody in your family or household must earn, well, they must be earning less than 500,000 naira. And nobody in your household must be owing any form of a loan shark or loan companies or wherever, so you can't get it. Now, you would have to look for maybe a royal father, a level 12 to level 15, a civil servant, even a judge, just to get your, then you have to get your VC of your school, get your department what do you call it, report or so, to sign your letter that you are a student. Then after that, when you now finally submit your application to the student loan bank, now, I mean, that doesn't mean that you're going to get any money or any loan, because getting the loan at the end of the day depends on availability of fund. But when they asked Tifnumbu or this Bajabi Amuli and Co, they said, just tell them that we'll take 1% of the money from crude oil. That was what they said. They said 1% of the money they make from crude oil is enough to fund this thing. And then when you ask them, how much is 1% of the crude oil sale in Nigeria? Does anybody have a clue how much is the 1%? Nobody has an answer, because 100% of Nigeria crude oil money goes into private pockets of the criminals that took over office or got appointed or put their asses to G, all through politics. But they sold Nigeria NNPC to themselves. Nigerians have no idea how much they sold it. You have NNPC managing your crude oil and gas, but yet you can't really hold them and ask them, how much is the crude oil you are selling every day and how much money are you making from it? Can you give all the accounts, like one by one? Can you give us the account? They won't. They can't. And that is the country that want to fund student loan with 1% of the money made from crude oil. And you believed them. These are pointers that will tell me when something is a lie. This is not about seeing vision or not. Okay? And also, when you look at them, for you to see clearly, do not look at everything that comes from them with, I know they are all that nonsense. No, you need to understand the nonsense so that it doesn't kind of end up like, I don't like them. Whatever it is, anything news about them like this, I believe it. Before you believe anything about the rubbish they are doing, pay attention to understand the rubbish. When you understand the rubbish, it will actually anger you more. You know why a lot of Nigerians don't really get angry when some of these ridiculous happenings or news that are coming from Nigeria is because they are like, it's not new. It's Nigeria, Jerry. It's always, oh, Baba, now so then they do. Now so then they do. They have hid behind that so long that you are not angry. You are not enraged. Because now so then they do. About what you want me to do. Now so then they do, Jerry. But when you begin to pay attention to now so then they do and waiting that they do, you will get more angrier. Because it's like fooling you, right in the open, speaking grammars, all right? And then you are there like, oh, now lie, Jerry, no. But maybe when you understand how they are doing it, when they are doing it, you will see how cheap they see Nigerians. They don't read. They like to gossip and just go, don't leave them, do what you want to do. Who is going to see? Nobody will care. They are more interested in Yoruba versus Igbo, Fulani versus Hausa than Muslim versus Christian. Do it. They won't even notice or care. So people like us pay attention to what they are doing, and it hurts. When we try to explain it to a lot of you that are quick and easy to deceive and jump to their defense. It's sad. Critical questions that will easily tell you, man, this whole thing is absolute nonsense. When they said they were giving the poorest of the poor in Nigeria, and they spent over 4 trillion naira. 4 trillion naira. 4.6 trillion naira was how much Shadia spent in 4 years, lifting Nigerians out of poverty. Now the entire money ended up in private pockets, paying for choice properties, expensive properties in Dubai and all over the world. And guess what? The poorest of the poor, they were lifting out of poverty. they have dug them more, and they have dumped more people inside that same poverty. But where is the money gone? But when they started, when Pastor Ruga started that madness, it wasn't part of their manifesto. I mean, they lied to you. You saw the booklet of their change lies, Abi. But giving people money, sharing money wasn't part of that. Like that. Then, okay, fine. They started sharing the money. But when they are sharing it, they are making people believe that. I mean, you were seeing people they gave money to now. But when they were asked to come and show us the record of how they gave the money, they now said they only gave them cash at hand. You actually shared nearly 5 trillion naira by hand. Abba. The last trace of the money was when the money was released into the private account of individuals. For 4 years, 4.8 trillion, nearly 5 trillion naira. Instead of it to lift people out of poverty, it left them even deeper in poverty. And people like us were screaming then, how is it possible for one individual to share over 500 billion naira in 2 days to 11.5 million household? Abba. They said, yes, they did. They shared it. Fraud, scam. You will see them before they even happen. You can tell, you can see them before they happen. But there are those that chooses, and we always choose to be blind. And it is the same thing with the Nigeria here too. You know why I'm saying all of this? Because you see this student loan nonsense. 100%. It continues to show you. You continue to see it, that it is a total fraud. The framework of it, the sustainability of it is totally impossible. Not when they are doing what they are doing now. But some of you want to believe that it is possible if they want to do it. So they will make you believe it is possible. Because they will need committees, they will need this or that. At the end of the day, the budget for the committee will be bigger than the budget for the entire student loan. It is always there. The signal is always there. They sold NNPC to themselves. People will tell you they were employed by NNPC Nigeria. But you know something? Now they are working for NNPCL. You'll be wondering, which one is NNPCL again? They are supposed to be a private company that picked their name after the national carrier or national petroleum of Nigeria. They were employed, they were staffed. But now they are working for a private company, private oil company that is selling Nigeria crude oil, collecting money and supposedly remitting whatever they sell after deducting their own cut. So people where you employ, the people that they politically appointed, they changed the template of a national asset to theirs. Well, Nigeria is still paying their salary. Okay, Nigeria is still funding their budget. But guess what? They are private company that is now a private oil company that are now with so that is now with shareholders. Your NNPC now have shareholders. You don't know them. You don't have to know them. Okay? But some of you will still see NNPC building Abuja. They are still being paid. Their salary and everything is still being paid for by Nigerians. But when they sell Nigeria crude oil, they will tell Nigeria how much. They are the ones who will tell you how much they sold. And then they will remove their own cut for selling Nigeria crude oil. They will remove their own cut and give the profit to their shareholders. But you see those who are working for them, they are being paid for by Nigeria. Nigeria is paying their salary. Have you ever seen that kind of open robbery before in your life? Russia has national oil company. What do they call that word for Russia? Is that called Orascom or something? No. Then the Saudi Arabia. They have the national oil. In fact, Saudi Arabia national oil remains Saudi Arabia's national oil, right? That those who now bought shares in there, they were buying shares from the Russia's national oil, not some guys who are now the owner of, Saudi Arabia's national oil, right? They are not like buying shares from some guys who are managing the Saudi Arabia oil and gas. That's the trick. They play that trick on you, and it is still existing today, right now. So tomorrow they will tell you, oh, Tifnumbu has appointed new NNPC GMD. So NNPC GMD is appointed by Nigeria president to manage the NNPC of Nigeria. Okay. So the GMD is is now going to serve as well as the GMD or something for NNPCL, because NNPCL, that one have their own structure. They are private business. Here you get. But NNPC, that is meant to sell and collect the proceeds of crude sale in Nigeria, the NNPC will now wait for the NNPCL to sell the crude oil and come back and say, yeah, we have sold the crude oil, but we are taking our own 15% cut for our shareholders. Here's the balance. Thank you. So the NNPC will now go to Nigeria and say, this is how much you made from crude oil. Do you understand how that works, right? They have already put straw into your resources before it finally gets you. That is why when the droplet, when all of you are like the ordinary Nigerians, right, who want education, who want your educational system to be funded, you want your healthcare to be funded, you want your infrastructure to improve, you want this, so you want that, blah, blah, here and there. By the time the resources is now going to drop, it's going to be what? It's going to be droplet. So like that. Do you understand? Because you have no money. The entire thing has been tapped from the top systematically. Here you get. So that's what they did with NNPCL, NNPC. There's no NNPC anymore, right? So yeah, they will need committees. And on this same student loan, the NNPCL have been an NNPC that is supposed to tell you how much they make from crude oil. You know something, you will read it. Have you not been reading it? You will read that Nigeria's oil production is 1.5 million barrels a day. But Nigeria doesn't sell crude oil per se. Nigeria collects royalty from crude oil. I think I just need to keep reminding us that, right? So Nigeria collects royalty from crude oil. And there are oil exploration, exploring companies or oil exploration companies. The ones who bring in their own machineries, the equipment, technology, and all of that. So what happened is that Nigeria, for 60 years, same way Nigeria couldn't afford to fund, build, generate, and distribute electricity to homes and industries for 60 years. It's the same way Nigeria and the successive ruiners of Nigeria for 63 years have not really been able to invest in your oil industry. So they turn themselves to rent takers, rent seekers, royalty collectors. And that's why Nigeria will remain poor for a long time. It is, it is doomed to remain poor. Just take a look at all of their actions, okay? Now, I don't know how much Nigeria collects as royalty in total, but my last research said Nigeria collects only 40% of their crude oil sale. So what is that? The oil companies themselves, when they extract the oil, right, they will take their own share. The middlemen and all of that they have intentionally created, who are supposed to be the bureaucrats, representative or chancellors from the part of Nigeria, they are in between. They will take theirs. They have names for all of them. Then the NNPC, which is representing Nigeria, will collect theirs. And from what I heard, it is 40%. Nigeria know they even collect up to 50% of our oil crude. Do you even know that? Did you know that? Every time they tell you Nigeria is oil producing country, Nigeria doesn't produce its own oil. Nigeria just has oil. And for 63 years, not a single machine was bought by Nigeria. Not any oil field in Nigeria you say, oh, this oil field is owned by the government of Nigeria. No. Did you know that? You've been hearing about Shell. You've been hearing about, what are those names again? Give me those names. You know, a lot of you are like, Nigeria is a rich country. We're not supposed to be poor. Are you paying attention at all? Nigeria is created to be the